how long did you train in the power plant before you were put on WCW television?
I think any number or any amount of time that I give you would be fiction. I mean, I think it was like 8 months or something like that.
Okay.
But I truly can't remember.
Less than a year. Probably less than a year.
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. Who was the driving force creatively that saw you and this new guy, this green guy, that was really the one that said, "Hey, it's time to let's give this a try"? Was there one or two guys that were big Goldberg supporters in the inner circle there, decision makers, that saw you in the power plant that got you on television?
I think one of the first guys who actually saw something was, who was the guy who was Mr. Assassin?
Oh, Jody Hamilton.
Jody Hamilton. Jody, I mean, I remember like it was yesterday. He asked me what my finish was, and this was before we were at Universal, and I was wrestling Manny Fernandez, and I said, I don't have a finish. I don't know. I didn't. It was in the embryonic stage of my career, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, well, whatever you do, make it have impact. And I went out there, and I like I say, I'll never forget it. I'm looking across the ring right before the finish, and I look at Manny, and I said, and I didn't even talk to him about it. I said, Manny, do you trust me? And he goes, yep. And I ran him over like a freight train. And I went back through the curtain, and Jody said, whatever you did, do that every single time from now on.
Spear.
I mean, I'll never forget it. It was the spear.
Yeah.
And it was just football. It wasn't anything I planned, And ironically, I don't know. You're the historian in the wrestling business. Who speared people before me? I don't know. I don't know if I'd ever seen it. But it wasn't something that I consciously did.
Right. Yeah. I think that here's the thing. You didn't overthink it. It made sense. It was logical. It fit your background. You're a big guy. The thing that some kids are watching now, and I talked about this on one of my last podcasts, is that a lot of the groups that are trying hard. I have empathy for them because I'm still a wrestling fan, and they just want to live their dream. Like you want to live your NFL dream, they want to live their pro wrestling dream. What the heck? But they're working too fast. They're trying to do too much, and they're overthinking things. A spear, taking the breath out of somebody, because it takes you 3 seconds to win or lose. 3 seconds. That's it. So the spear worked perfectly for you, and I don't know anybody that ever did it. I don't remember anybody doing it as a finish, quite frankly. I remember guys that did, football tackles, but they were done high, and they never left their feet. It was just a kind of a stationary kind of a deal. And then the football tackles were replaced by the 8 zillion clotheslines. Yeah. So when Stan Hansen, we mentioned Hansen, when Stan Hansen was at his prime, there was one clothesline.
I remember that. Yep.
He called it a lariat, but he'd take your damn head off, and it wasn't a high spot. He'd beat your ass with it. That's it.
He'd take your head clean off.
Yeah, that's it. Done. So you go 173-0, which I happen. Now, two sides of the story, and this is going to bring me to this question. As an old-timer in wrestling, which I was, of course, I'm in WWE, and you're down at WCW. I'm loving what you're doing because you're an Oklahoma guy, and I'm proud of you. And I see, something percolating down there, and, if the politics the politics don't cut your legs out from under you, which they're apt to do in this business, then you're going to get over, in despite of your inexperience, because you got it, and they can't take it away from you, and they can't teach you it, and they damn sure can't remove it. They can hide it by not putting you on TV, but they can't suppress it. And people are going to say, "What the hell is JR talking about?" It, the intangible, charisma, the it factor, folks. You've heard me talk about it here. How did you? I know how it was in a WWE locker room because some people roll their eyes that were older about a guy going, 100, X number of wins and How did you feel it politically in the WCW locker room where this green kid, has never been beat. Do you feel the pressure or the angst or the uncomfortableness, or are people just taking it for, hey, it's what it is, what it is?
Well, I mean, throughout the process, I felt different stages of it. There's no question. I mean, let's be perfectly honest, JR. I mean, I was extremely green in the business, and it was something that I didn't originally aspire to do. I didn't grow up a wrestling fan, so people didn't appreciate my stature in the business because of my quote-unquote attitude. But I grew up wanting to play football, man. It wasn't my fault that I didn't aspire to be a pro wrestler. It was my fault that I got hurt, and then I changed my attitude and tried to be the best at something else. Because I didn't have the original love for it, sometimes that's held against me. Mm-hmm. Maybe because of ways that I've misproperly eloquated it throughout the years. But, hey, man, there's nothing that brings more fonder memories than me sitting on my grandmother's swivel chair, when I'm 8 years old, watching Texas Championship Wrestling with her every Saturday night at 10:30.
Right.
Mid-South, or I can't remember where it was. I can't remember where it was, the arena. But, once people started getting it kind of shoved down their throats, I think with the streak, people would, jump at the opportunity to say, I told you so, and we need to go this way, and he needs to be beat this way. And, the entire time, as evident, more so, I think, in the Steven Regal match, that everyone, throughout the years has talked about him trying to kick my ass in it. The position that I was in, JR, man, you know me, I'm just a good old Jewish boy from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yep.
I was so appreciative to be in the spot that I was in. I would let anybody do anything to me out in that ring, up to a certain point when I smartened up and I figured people were trying to take advantage of me. My second match, I let Barbarian belly to belly me from the top turnbuckle. Because I trust these guys, and these guys wouldn't do anything. I'm helping them putting people in seats, and so I would think that everybody's best interest is at heart, and so they would want to teach me the ins and outs in a proper way so that we could all make more money.
Sure, that's the bottom line. Hey, somebody asked me on Twitter when I said I'm going to be talking to Bill Goldberg for a future podcast. They said, ask him about the Regal story. And, and I didn't even write it down because I wasn't even aware of what the hell they were talking about. And then somebody else asked me about it, and then I heard, well, Regal was on Austin's podcast. Stone Cold's got a podcast here on Podcast One, and he said that there's nothing to the story, that he didn't try to take liberties with you. What is this? I'm confused.
He did. He did. Between he and Dave Taylor and, a couple other the hard asses there, and I respect him for it. That's all good. And, just don't try to take advantage of me on national TV when I'm a piece of clay in your hands and I'll do anything you want.
Yeah.
Let me know it's going to be a Japanese match so I can give you some back.
Right.
Not so I can be led around by a guy who's going to kick me in the frickin' head when I'm sitting on all fours.
I got you.
I mean, I would have loved to have ever had the opportunity to do that one again, but that's a prime example, JR, as to, I'm not the eternal baby face in this picture, but I'm telling you, man, I would let these guys do anything they want to me because I trusted them. There were guys in the business that were down at WCW during our big run that I looked way up to, even though I wasn't a scholar in the business, whether it be Kurt Hennig or the Steiners, or whether it be Nash, or whether it be Scott Hall at times, or Jarrett or Sting or Lex, or, all these guys are big boss man. There were a lot of guys with a lot of experience there that I really, immediately just gave them my trust and, thought that they'd lead me the right way. And then throughout the years, I learned, I learned the mode of operandi up there.
Yeah.
Like the NFL, like everywhere
Sure,
else.
exactly. It's when the streak ended, did it end at the right time in your view, and did it end to the right opponent?
I think with Kevin being on the booking committee 2 weeks before, I think it just didn't shine positively, whether it was his idea or anyone else's idea, or whether it was time or not. I don't know if his promotion to that position boded well for the future of how people look back on it. But hey, man, I'm a talent. I don't book shows. I don't make those decisions. I just give 1,000% at what they tell me to do. So I didn't have an opinion in that. I didn't have a voice in it. I probably could have in years, gone by when I had the veto power in the WWE and still did things that I knew weren't right. It's just the way that I try to pay the business back because of my positively meteoric rise that I didn't feel that I deserved at times, and I felt guilty about.